Good morning, everyone. My name is Hanna Gizaw, and I'd like to talk about my PhD topic in the upcoming few moments. I work as a resident doctor at the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Semmelweis University. My vision is to provide better antenatal care and higher quality of life for the newborns, and mission is to provide evidence on optimal paternal age for having children. Currently, I have two ongoing projects on the same topic. First, on a worldwide level, and second, on a national level. Let me talk a little bit about my first project. It has the work title of Investigating the Influence of Paternal Age on the Development of Congenital Anomalies. Overall, 2 to 4% of live births involve congenital anomalies, causing significant medical, surgical, cosmetic, or lifestyle consequences. There is an increasing number of fathers at the age of 40 or more, but not only higher, but both low and high paternal age can be associated with an increased incidence of congenital anomalies. And still, there is no consensus on the optimal paternal age for having children. So my aim is to investigate the association between paternal age groups and the incidence of congenital anomalies. My clinical question is, are there paternal age groups with an increased incidence of congenital anomalies? And my work frame is this PEO. My populations are the newborns. We compare different age groups of fathers, and we're looking for structural congenital anomalies. And my hypothesis is that there are paternal age groups that increase the incidence of congenital anomalies in newborns. I've carried out a systematic search in 3 comprehensive databases, and we came up with almost 10,000 hits at the end of November last year. After the duplicate removal and title and abstract selection, I came up with 34 eligible full texts. Out of these texts, we could use only 7 because these were the similar ones which had the same age groups and the same reference age group, and used logistic regression as the statistical model. Let me talk a little bit about our results. On this first plot, this is a merged one actually. We have all the age groups that we went through and all the malformations that we looked at. We analyzed each malformations separately in different age categories. And as it's visible on this plot, the odds ratios and the confidence intervals. And below the age of 20, we found that spina bifida occurred more commonly. Between the age of 30 to 34, cleft lip occurred less commonly, so that was a protective factor from this point of view. While between the age of 45 to 49, cleft lip occurred more commonly. And over 50 years of age, renal agenesis was the malformation which we found that was more common. To make it even more spectacular, we have all the ORs with each birth defects on this extra figure with the age groups. And as it's visible on this figure, there is a U-shaped relationship between the incidence of congenital anomalies and the father's age. We had a few strengths and limitations as well. I think the strength of this project is that we only use population-based studies, and we were lucky enough to analyze each anomaly individually. There were a large number of patients. Unfortunately, there were different age categories, and because of that, we had to exclude many studies, and the outcomes were quite inconsistent and heterogeneous. And these studies were restricted to specific regions, especially to America and China. But my main conclusion is that fathers under 20, between 45 to 49, and over 50 are higher risk for having babies with structural congenital anomalies. And overall, the incidence of congenital anomalies exhibits a U-shaped pattern. My implication for practice would be to specify screening methods, for example, fetal echocardiography or fetal neurosonography. And my implication for research would be to study biological background. And I think it would be very necessary to study even more regions around the world. This is the status of my first project. Currently, I'm at the manuscript writing status. Let me introduce you my second topic, which has the work title of Investigating the Influence of Paternal Age on the development of Congenital Anomalies in the Hungarian Population between 1980 and 2009. 4.5% of live births involve congenital anomalies in Hungary in 2021, and by 2016 only half of the fathers had their first child under the age of 25, like in 2000. 5% of fathers were at the age of 45 or more at the birth of their first child in 2016. So the age of the fathers at the birth of their first child is increasing. And still there is no consensus on the optimal paternal age for having children. So my aim again is to identify high-risk paternal age groups in the Hungarian population. My clinical question here is that what is the ideal paternal age to minimize the risk of congenital anomalies, and we are working with the same work frame. And my hypothesis is that certain paternal ages can be associated with increased incidence of congenital anomalies. And my clinical implication is that is to increase childbearing awareness and lower the incidence of congenital anomalies. Let me talk a little bit about my study design. The data were collected from the Hungarian case control surveillance of congenital anomalies, which is a very unique database. And the matched controls were collected from the Hungarian Central Statistical Office. As I've mentioned, the study period was between 1980 and 2009, and during this time there were more than 30,000 births with defects out of this more than 3 million live births in Hungary. I also have results here, so let me talk a little bit about this. On this cubic spine line, what you can see is that the risk increasing effect of advanced and very young paternal age occurred at the central nervous system and the genital organs. On these plots, you can see there is a light gray column. This is the optimal 10 years of age for each malformations, because we carried out the analysis for every malformation here as well. And the gray line, the darker gray line, is the confidence interval. So what is visible here, that we had a significant difference at younger ages and also at advanced ages. A very young paternal age was associated in musculoskeletal system defects, and circulatory system, urinary system, cleft plate, and other congenital malformations occurred more common at the advanced paternal ages. There were also malformations where congenital anomalies were not related to paternal age. And their overall result is that the optimal paternal age for having children is between 19 to 28 years of age. And as it's visible on this slide, very young and also advanced paternal age was the higher risk for having these anomalies. So this result is statistically significant, but clinically not relevant. So my conclusion is that paternal age correlates with non-chromosomal congenital anomalies, and the optimal paternal age for having children is between 19 and 28 according to our data. My implication for practice would be to have fetal echocardiography and neurosonography, which could be paternal age-related indication, and more studies would be still needed. I'm also at the manuscript writing status with this project, and I'm planning to finalize both of my projects by the end of this summer. And I'd like to thank you for your attention with my quote, "Science is magic that works." Thank you again.
Congratulations on the presentation. My name is Jakub. I am from Gizaw Group. I am very perplexed by the results for the younger age for fathers and increased risk for some outcomes. I would like to ask, was this independent of socioeconomical status? So we know that usually the people from lower socioeconomical status have children early in their life. So my question is, in your literature search or in your database study, did you found any relationship to socioeconomical status?
Thank you for your question, Jakub. We only took into consideration the paternal age, so we don't have any information on the status.
Thank you.
Congratulations to two interesting projects. I want to ask, maybe it's somehow related to Jakub's question as well. Did you consider any confounding in the first or the second project? Because when you showed result, for example, for spina bifida, I was immediately thinking about the mother, if she was under supplementation, blah, 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 etc. So if you consider this, or if it was even possible. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your question. Well, it's a very hard part of my project to the confounding factors, to take these out. This is a very little effect, the paternal age, I mean, and we try to take out the maternal age factor. And the thing that we could do was that we excluded all those years where we had no data. But yeah, this is the answer, basically.
Thank you for your presentation. I just have a quick question about your second project. Why did the data collection stop at 2009?
Thank you for your question. The reason for that was the lack of financial resources.
I see. Thank you.
May I ask that what is the age you recommend for young ladies to select for couples?
Fathers?
For fathers, yes.
Well because this is not a clinically relevant result, it's the lady's choice.
Okay, thank you.